What's up, British basketball fans? Hope you're all well. It's Phil here. Welcome to a new feature here on the channel. We're going to be speaking to some WBBL players, some BBL players, hopefully some owners, some coaches, volunteers and fans from across both leagues. Find out a little bit more about them, about their journeys, and even have some fun around some on-the-court kicks. So we're going to kick things off this week with Chloe Gaynor, who is obviously plays centre for Newcastle Eagles. And yeah, I had a really good chat with Chloe. So much stuff that we didn't even get to cover, but hopefully you enjoy this. Let us know down in the comments if you do, and we'll look forward to welcoming more guests onto the channel. So I guess the first place I wanted to kind of start was, why basketball? Like, why, for you personally, why basketball?
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of people ask me that. For me, I grew up as a swimmer.
Really?
So,
all right.
Yeah. So I was a swimmer, very competitive, was in deep with it. Like, I was obsessed with the fact that I was going to go to the Olympics, whatever I did. Like,
yeah.
You know, I trained with some pretty high level athletes and made some good times and stuff, and was on a pretty successful route. But I have scoliosis, which is curvature of the spine.
Right, okay.
So when I got to about 13, 14, I started to have problems with my shoulder, because as I was growing, my curvature got worse and stuff.
Yeah.
So it started to impact my ability to swim, and basically the doctors told me to stop, and that I couldn't swim anymore, any of that stuff. And at that point in time, I'd got to about 15, and my brother had just started. He's 3 years younger than me, so he just started playing
Right.
in school, because we'd never played basketball in school, which is a major problem anyway. But
yeah,
we'd never played basketball in school. I didn't really know what it was. So my brother had started playing. He got like scouted to the local team. When I say local, it's 45 minutes away, to go play with them. And he'd been a swimmer, but it wasn't particularly talented.
okay.
Let's say he was more of a dive in and sink to the bottom than a dive in and to the side.
Just jump in and see how you get on.
Doesn't matter how much he trained, it was not going to get there. He asked for us to do something that we both could enjoy and join in on, and he wanted me to go play basketball too. So that's kind of how I got caught up in it. Is like I there was no way that I wasn't going to play sports.
Yeah.
It was more so finding out which sport I wanted to play after swimming was done for me. And
so at this point, you'd never even so much as contemplated basketball, never touched a basketball, never watched a game?
No.
So it was like, and I guess at 15, that's pretty late for most people. Like, as you say, your brother was 3 years younger. Like, what is the average age that kids get into basketball? It's got to be sort of sub 10.
Yeah, it's pretty young. Like, a lot of schools are doing a better job now of really introducing basketball. I mean, up here, it's great. Like, the Eagles do a lot of work in going into primary schools and making basketball accessible for everybody. So, you know, they're able to access it at a young age. For me, I grew up in a village. There was no basketball. You know, we did the typical stereotypical sports, cricket or rounders or cross country. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I ran around a field because I lived in a village.
yeah.
And that's nothing against those sports, but it's the fact that, like, the boys played basketball in school, I played netball. And it's like, which is just, if we're going to do that, make it available to both.
Yeah, that's the real stereotype, like, isn't it? Like, boys play basketball, girls play netball. You wear a skirt, he gets to wear cool shorts, and you stick to your lanes. You know, like, I did netball in primary school. I mean, we're going back 1996, showing the age now. And even then, it was like, well, you can play if you want, but like, it's not really for you. It's like, it was starting to happen then. I'm assuming that that's not the case now with kids of that age, where boys and girls can play netball as well, or is it still very much you play that and you play that?
I think it's better. I mean, my last year, so when I was in year 11, my PE teacher was like, "Oh, you started playing," and he let me play with the boys.
Right.
And I think we did have one girls competition.
Right
at the end of year 11, but it was netball players playing basketball because we hadn't done basketball before.
Nobody's dribbling and everyone's pivoting and just fighting a move.
Yeah. I mean, and I could never be a netball player anyway. I would get told off all the time. Everything would be a foul. So
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, so I kind of got into it because thankfully my brother dragged me into it.
So was it kind of did your like you deciding to go into it like all in? Was that connected to your relationship with your brother, or was it something that when you started playing, it was like, whoa, this is me? Like there's just something that kind of spoke to you about it?
Yeah, it was definitely this is me. Like my brother stopped playing not too long after I started to join.
Yeah.
But for me, like as soon as I like the competitive nature of it, the never stopping, like you're going all out. You have to play offense and defense. You're switched on the whole time. Like I'm naturally a very competitive person. So like for me it was something completely different because swimming is an individual sport. You're competing against yourself.
Yeah.
Like you're competing against other people in the pool, but really it's you and the clock.
Yeah.
And for me, I'd played a little bit of football, and then the team element really took out to me. Like I really enjoy succeeding together. I don't know whether that was an after effect of being an individual athlete for so long or not. But like the being able to see the improvement when you work at something. I think for me, starting late, I could see the improvement very quickly.
Yeah.
Like I knew that the more shots I took, the better a shooter I would become, and I can see the more I dribbled, I can see it on the floor. Like it translates.
Yeah.
And I think that the getting better part of it and the never being the best.
Yeah, you're never
like,
done. It's like the moonshot type of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, like it's you'll never be good enough. Like you all can always work towards something. Like even the pros, they have things to work on. So it's I think it was that element to me as like I can do this and I can continue to do this, and being able to travel the world and being able to get educated and all that other stuff that comes alongside it that people don't really see. That really took out to me. Like my first coach was very aware of the fact that he was like, you could take this places and you have all these opportunities, and he really like laid down what the potential opportunities were. And I think for me, like aiming to get to that was like the eye-opening, like, oh yeah, like I really love this and this is something that I can get out of it. That's great.
So what was your sort of your friends and family's reaction when you come to them and say, well, I was swimming, now I'm playing basketball, but now I'm being told that actually the world's my oyster. I can go to Europe, I can go to the States, I can go and play for all these different teams. Like, were they just 110% behind you, or was there a little bit of sort of, were they just fully all in with you?
They jumped all in with me. I think, from a young age, they knew I was a sports person. Like, I've always loved sports. There's anything that's on the TV sports-wise, I'm on it. So I think they knew that once I got my teeth into something, that I'm stubborn enough to not let it go. So like with swimming, I was all in with that, and my parents took me to the pool every morning, and then took me to school, and then took me to the pool every night, and then so it's something that they had done since having me, because I swam from a young age. So it wasn't. I don't think they were surprised when I said, I've got this now, like I'm gonna full send it. They were a bit more apprehensive because I moved to London when I was 17 to go to Barking Abbey. And I think they kind of took a breath back and was like, oh, this is a lot, when it was like, okay, well, she's playing national team and she's now living in a house with other athletes, and she's doing it A-levels and going to school. Like, it's a lot for someone to move out that young and move into a city too, being from a village. Like, it's a big learning curve.
Did the game change moving from what you were used to playing in your village and school and stuff to suddenly playing in a city with people that play it like night and day and outdoor courts and stuff like that? Did the game change for you?
Yeah, well, when I was back at home in Mansfield, like I played with the boys,
right,
and then the senior women's team. So I'd never played with women my own age. Like I'd not played junior youth basketball. Like I'd not played under 16s and the 18s. When I went to Barking was the first time that I was playing with girls my own age. So that was a little bit different because I was used to playing under 16s with the boys, and like, you know, we're in there, we're rough and tumble, and it's fast
Yeah.
paced, and then playing with the senior women in Mansfield really helped because that helped me learn the game.
Yeah.
'Cause that was more, it was slower, it was more methodical. Like, what's the right read? So I had a really nice balance.
Yeah.
But it was a change when I went to Barking, I think, because we had people like Diana and Teresa who'd played pro in Europe, who'd represented their country, you know, played really high level, and just that learning curve of what is needed to be at that level. That was a game changer, I think, for me.
Do you think playing with the boys sort of give you an advantage? I know obviously you came to the game late, but you've kind of gained an advantage. Or was it an advantage that you've played with the boys when some of the girls had just kind of progressed up through the ranks with other girls? Do you think it kind of give you an edge?
Yeah, I think it did help. I think because, you know, being a center or a forward, you get hit a lot. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be tough and battle. It's not necessarily something that is in my game as much now. But when I was younger, it was like, and playing with them really helped that because they didn't take it easy on me because I was a girl. Like, I was one of the lads. So I came into practice and they didn't care if I was in front of them. I was going to take a charge. And I didn't care if it was them coming down the court at me. I was going to stand there and I was a shot. Like, they could have been 5 foot taller than me, and I did not care. Like, and I think the challenge of going against people who were, you know, physically stronger than me was good. Like, I played games with them and I played against guys that were 6'8", 6'9". You know, I'm not going to play against anybody who's 6'8" or 6'9". So having to adapt to that and, you know, be physically outmatched because they're just stronger. Yeah, I think it did give me an advantage. But I think there's also the advantages of growing up in a system where it is girls basketball, because then you know, you learn the styles of play, and it's slightly different, but I think different people need different routes. Different people benefit from different routes, and I think me having the balance of playing with the boys in my age group and then the senior women really was a good balance and taught me both sides of it.
Yeah. I know sort of one of the key themes throughout this conversation and probably throughout your life and career is sort of boys versus girls, and it being a very sort of split thing outside of your career. It's very much boys and girls. You're trying now in both your role as a player and as a coach and a women's basketball advocate in itself, like to try and break those stereotypes down. What kind of things are you surprised about through this journey of trying to do that, and what kind of things are you really encouraged by in that process?
You know, it's an age-old thing, isn't it? Boys versus girls and all this stuff. And you know, even as society develops and moves on, we still are very gender binary and stereotypical in the way that we perceive things. But I've been fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of people that are very forward thinking and help with how we can tackle some of those issues. And I'm really fortunate that the club also provides a standpoint where they help, you know, with tackling those issues. You know, I'm coaching the under 16 boys. Last year I coached them at under 14s, and I think everyone was kind of shocked. We went into multiple different gyms and I got asked, "Oh, where's the coach?" And I was like,
"Really?
Hi, it's me." Yeah. Because they were thinking that, well, it's under 14 boys, so it's going to be a man.
But how that really quite confuses me, because if that was a girls' team and a male coach walks in, it's like, there's the coach.
Yeah.
But when it's on the other shoes on the other foot, like,
So that's exactly what I said when I went in there. I said, just a quick question though, like, if it was a girls' team and a man walked in, we wouldn't ask that question. Because it's an expectation that a coach can be a man. But a coach can't be a female unless they're coaching women.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, there's nothing about me being a female that impacts my ability to coach.
Yeah.
You know, we see it now with people, with women in the NBA. You know, they're
Yeah,
coming
yeah, yeah.
through. You know, so it's like being asked that question. I think the thing that encouraged me was it's the fact that the kids then go, no, that's our coach.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So now they're starting to turn around and go, well, hey, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
she's our coach. And then the boys come into our games.
Yeah.
You know, they're excited about women's basketball. They like women's basketball. We played a scrimmage. The boys played a scrimmage against the WBBL team, and they were so up for it. They were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you know, we're gonna go battle against Marina, and oh, we're gonna go battle against you, and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Settle down. Like,
Ah, yeah, yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna destroy you anyway, so it's
Yeah.
fine." But they were just like, "Oh no, I'm gonna dunk on you," and I was like, "No, it's
Oh,
fine. I'll just shoot
really?
a fade away. It's all good." Like, so you know, it's them. I think the encouraging thing is them being invested in women's basketball,
Yeah.
and then their families too being
Yeah.
invested because of the connections that's built through it.
I guess that's the big thing. Like, and I've said this on a few different videos that I've done on Twitter as well. When you mention there the knock-on effect it has on families, like I think that connection there is one of the biggest ways of solving the attendance issues at WBBL games. Is that those boys? I mean, there's how many on the team? Well, there's the men now,
15.
so there's 15 of them. Like they've all got parents and families and grandparents and whatnot. They go each and tell at least 2-3 people that these girls can handle their own and it's a great game.
Yeah.
They come along to, suddenly you've got 30-40 people there, and that just, if you keep expanding on that, we're going to start seeing bigger, we'll have to start seeing bigger attendances at these games. Do you think these boys now are then, as a result of this experience, kind of going to carry forward into the rest of their lives a greater understanding of gender equality?
I hope so. It's something that we talk about often. I think that they're more aware of. You know, last year's under 14s, the ones that were on the under 14 team, you know, they had me as a coach, and then they had Zoe as the team manager, and the parents were also like heavily involved.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, making them aware. I think it's all about making kids aware that kids do give up a lot to play a sport.
Yeah.
But it also has a toll on the parent as well. You know, the time that is committed to taking the kids to practice and waiting for them to practice, and then you know, not only then you're thinking about the financial support that it requires, and the emotional support too, because sport is challenging and it's hard, and how do you deal with wins and losses, and how do you deal with things not going your way? It's adversity, and then on top of that you have school and you're growing up, like so I think making the kids aware of that factor too. Like I think last year I saw the guys like really develop into being aware that it's more than a ball of air, you know? Like, at the end of the day, it's about the connections you make, how you fight for each other. Like between the lines, you know, you're a basketball player, so it doesn't matter, you know, whether you're male, female, non-binary, you're a basketball player. And so but being aware that in doing that, you know, I spoke to my friend, and we need support. Like, you know, that people that are underrepresented need more support in being able to be represented equally. A lot of people talk about equality, but the truth is that we need equity. It's not about equality, it's about equity, and providing that support to be equal. So
and have you seen sort of over the last few years that is growing in the women's game? Is it heading in the right direction, or is there still sort of a lot of work to be done?
I think it is heading in the right direction. I think there is still work to be done. I think there will always still be work to be done. You know, until every WBBL team is selling out, then we haven't reached the goal. So I think, you know, we're heading in the right direction. You know, back in the day when I was at Barking, you know, 7 years ago or whatnot, there wasn't, I don't know of any like professionals that, you know, were getting paid just to play basketball on the women's side. You know, now every team almost has some professionals, or some that are doing it part-time, you know, that people who are genuinely invested in just in being a basketball player and making this league better. Now there's people who are focusing all their time on invest in women's basketball. There's
Yeah.
people like yourself, Mark at WBBL Review, that are dedicated to helping grow the game from a social media standpoint. The British game, not just like, people do a general overview, worldwide and whatnot, and they may mention a few things, but doing, specifically for this league, a great job of promoting us and providing that substance for us to have that outlet and that accessibility, and allowing other people to see us too. The visibility, it's massive. You the representation, like you can be what you see. If you can't see it, you can't be us. So
I guess that and that kind of goes full circle with you, because you're doing a lot of girls only sessions, workshops, camps and things like that. If these girls don't see the likes of you and Marina, like, I mean, I can only speak from personal experience. And I've messaged you on Instagram about this. We brought my daughter to what was the one where the purple t-shirts were handed out?
The Her World, Her Rules.
That was the one, yeah. And she came away just like, I didn't realize girls could be so tough.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, it's probably coincidental, but she's at that age now where like she's becoming very aware of male dominance, and she's pushing back against it. And I think that kind of connects in for me, where she's gone to that camp and she saw, Marina doing a slamming her hands on the floor drill, and she's like, she literally came away a different person. And that must be one of the best feelings for you, is to kind of to have a taster session like that, and then see not just young girls get into the game, but then build that confidence, because as you rightly say, they've seen you're visible to them, and they've gone, that's me, that's what I want to do, or that's what I need. That must be a huge thrill for you.
I think that's probably the thing that I enjoy the most, is seeing the impact that it has on people. It's about people at the end of the day, isn't it? Like, for me, like seeing the girls walk out of that session with a smiley face, or going, oh, I love that, or I made a friend, or that person, she's like me, or like, I want to be like her. It's the connections you can make, and because that's what life's about. Like, it's the people you have along for the journey. And so for me, it's about finding people you can identify with. You look at, you try and find the connections and the people that are like you. Growing up, it's hard when you don't quite identify with the people that you surround yourself with. It can be lonely, and so like having an outlet where you can find those connections, or I really love sports, and like, it's okay for me to like sports. I really like doing this, and like, I really like to be tough, and like, well, it's okay if you go dive on the floor, like, it's okay if you run through that brick wall. Go ahead, do it. Don't be embarrassed to do it. A lot of girls, they don't think that they can show that toughness, that aggressiveness, the things that you stereotypically say are male traits. Yes.
No, it is like, we're sort of, we've got Jasmine's 8 and George is 10. He'll be 11 in December, and we've brought them up from day one that, like, boys and girls can do exactly the same thing. And she, through whether it's us or whether it's her genetic makeup, I don't know, but she's grown up to be a really tough, still sensitive, and she's still herself, but she's tough. And George is kind of grown up to be a really sensitive guy, which is kind of against the whole stereotype. So in a way, it's like, it's nice for us, but that's only part of the problem. We need the other however many millions of kids to feel that sort of, or to understand that kind of freedom to be who they want, and that, to kick against the stereotypes. the courses and the camps that you are doing, is that a weekly thing, or is that sort of through the school holidays, or how does that work?
Yeah, so right now, they're run by Zoe, who's one of the new players on the team, and me and Marina pop our heads in every now and then. Marina's coaching the under-16 girls, and I coach Northumbria. So Wednesday nights are the nights for girls basketball, and
Yeah.
Zoe's doing a great job taking over on that, and they're at the arena from 6 till 7 and 7 till 8. For under 6 or 7 for under 14s, and no, for under 12, sorry. Okay. 7 till 8 for under 16s. So they're weekly sessions that people can come along to, and just, even if they just want to try it, you know, just come along, see if you can make new friends. Like the main goal for us to have those sessions when we first started them, you know, back when we did Her World, Her Rules, was just to have, you know, girls there enjoying playing sport, enjoying playing basketball, and getting to know each other and finding like a common shared ground. And just, you know, making those connections, smiling.
Fun. Are you seeing, you know, for some of the girls that attend these taster sessions, are you seeing them coming back and kind of flourishing into clubs and things throughout the CVL?
Yeah. So some of them are already affiliated with clubs. We've had a few girls then go and join clubs in CVL, which is great, because at the end of the day, you know, we want more girls playing basketball, and having the opportunities that, you know, I was given, that we was given as people growing up. You know, like I said, people don't really understand the places that it can take you, but having those experiences for them is good. Like, you know, having them play basketball, making the friends that they make. But also the life lessons that sport teaches you too. You know, sport is, not to get my soapbox, but sport is so good for many things, not just what athletically it gives you. But yeah, we are seeing them come into clubs, and that's doing great for us, you know, in building the entire program in general.
Because again, I suppose it has a knock-on effect, again, going back to what I was saying before about families and parents and things. Like, these girls come to a few taster sessions, they join a club, or they just keep coming back to your to the weekly sessions, and then it can be a social media post that goes out from the Eagles about the upcoming WBBL game, and they bring 5 people, and then they bring 5, and it's all just a massive interconnected sort of snowball effect, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. That's what we're seeing a lot of right now, is girls, like at the last game, a couple of the girls that have been to the girls only session came to the game, you know, and I said to them, I said, don't be shy, come and say hello after the game. And they came and said hello. And I was like, oh, this is my friend. And I'm like, yes.
There we go. But and again, I think it's that must be great for you, that sort of that moment where you kind of go, right, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one. And it's beyond monetary gain. It's beyond bums on seats. It's, as you say, that's a life or a personality that you can have a positive influence on. And I mean, I dare say there's probably countless stories that you've come across in your career, where both as a coach and as a player, where those interactions have changed somebody's life, complete 360, and improved, whether it's their mental health, their physical health, ability to make friends. Like, that must be such a buzz, just to be able to do what you do through the day and then see that on a nighttime.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's a great thing, but it's also like the impact that they have, like that their stories have on me as well. You know, like vice versa, like learn something new every day. It's not a cliche. Like, you know, it's funny. Some of the kids will come in, and, you know, just sometimes the way that kids think, you know, you'll be in the business of doing X, Y, Z, and they'll just come out with something random, and you're like, I never thought of that. You know, like, well, why are you doing this? I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, but now you made me think about it. So maybe
kids are just funny like that. Like, but I guess that's you've already said, that's the cherry on the cake for you. Getting to play basketball is one thing, but then having that kind of emotional connection and, I guess, emotional enrichment in your life, you know, having those stories, just, I guess they've lifted you beyond where basketball probably can some days, I guess.
That's a great part of it. Like, it is, the impact that it has on other people, and knowing that, like, something that we're doing as an organization is helping other people.
Yeah,
that's very rewarding.
It's been nice to connect. I know we've kind of messaged backwards and forwards on Instagram, so it's been an absolute pleasure to have you. And I think, speaking on behalf of me and Mark and everyone in the community, I think we'll continue to kind of take your lead and follow, and do what we can to drive the women's game forward, because it's massively underfunded, as you know, it's massively underrepresented, and it shouldn't be, because it's a great night out, and it's a great, what's the word? It's a great environment to be in. Yeah. I've said this before, like, basketball, like, I come from a football family, and I've brought my kids and my wife to watch the Eagles, both teams, and, like, it's just a different environment. There's no idiots. I mean, I know you probably have seen a few idiots in the time, but, like, there's no idiots, there's no drunken, sexism, racism out like that. It's just everyone comes to have a good night and support their local team.
I would say it's a good family night out. Like, I've not heard one person say that they've come to a game and not enjoyed it. Like, even if a win or a loss, like.
Yeah. That's the thing. That is the ultimate thing for me. Is I've been to went to the Giants game the other week, and I went to the Lions game last weekend, and both games sizable defeats, although we probably didn't deserve to lose the Manchester one up until the fourth quarter. But I stood outside the arena, and you watch people, and they've all still got smiles on their faces. There's no drunken blokes, we're being robbed. It was just like, what a great night. Kids, did you have fun? Did you have fun? Yeah, it was great. Yeah, let's come back next week. Yeah. Like, just, that must, that's another level of, I've never experienced that. I come out of football games, and it's just old men drinking in the pubs saying this is shite and this is whatever, and, like, there's none of that. So as going back to my original point, I think we'll all do whatever we can to build on what you guys are doing, and making sure that both games, both leagues, both women's and the men's game are supported and pushed as much as we can. If anyone wants to find out any info about these girls only sessions, where's the best place to send them?
So they can email girls only at NEWCASTLEEaglesbasketball.com. Go on the Newcastle Eagles website, or you can just message me. Like, I will literally answer you, or I'll point you in the right direction. But we have lots of stuff, and we have lots of stuff coming up too. That's that we're working on to provide for girls right now that's not there. So there'll be so much stuff for them to do. There's so much stuff for them to do now, but then also in the future as well, which is the exciting part about it. But so they can go on the Newcastle Eagles website, message me, or email girls only at Newcastle Eagles. And that's where all the information will get.
Awesome. Chloe, thank you so much for your time, and we'll look forward to catching a WBBL game soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll see
Champion.
you soon.
Thanks, Chloe.
All right. Bye-bye.